So I thought, how am I going to do a talk on pitching? Well, I thought I would take a look at who I thought did really good pitches. You've heard of Rami from Vlambeer? Everyone heard of Rami from Vlambeer? Yeah, awesome guy. He did a fantastic talk. I think it was GDC, maybe in Gamescom. He does it quite a lot. He's really good at telling people how to pitch. He's much better than me. However, I've stolen everything he says. There's also a guy called Shahid who used to be at Sony. He is also amazing at pitches. He's also a guy who has received so many indie pitches. He probably knows more about pitching than anyone I know other than possibly Rami. I also have a few things I chuck in. I get to do this thing called Big Indie Pitch, which is basically a whole bunch of people coming around with a game, and we might see 60 people in a session. It's normally around 30, but it can be up to 60 people. So I get pitched a lot, and I get a lot of bad pitches. So I'm going to give you 9 pitches. And of course, saying pitches all the time means I had to make them all Ps. So we're now going to see lots of silly images of Pitch Perfect, because why not? There are a few other non-Pitch Perfect images in here. I'll be giving bonus points to anyone who recognizes the movies they're from. I do not claim any credit for any of these movies, so please, please, these are not approved slides. We're not taking credit for them. Note that. Let's pitch. Are you game? Right. So, preparation. There is never enough time to prepare. Practice, make sure you get it right, understand what it is. But actually, preparation is more than just preparation for the pitch. You actually have to understand what it is you're talking about and why anyone will care. Seriously, you've got to know why on earth you're there. You've got to have the backup material. You do not take your spreadsheets in. Well, actually, you probably do take them with you, but don't show an investor or a publisher or someone like me at a 3-minute pitch your 15 gigabyte spreadsheet, which explains why your game is going to take over the world. But make sure you've got it, just in case. Make sure you understand it. Passion. You've got to bring it. Bring the passion. Make sure that people know that you are utterly committed to making this happen and that you're the right person to do it. You cannot buy authenticity. If you can fake it, that's all right. But most people can't. Actually, to be honest, the whole point is you've got to genuinely know this stuff. Whatever it is your game is about, you have to know it so well, it's instinct. And tell people, because if you are expert enough, if you have 10,000 hours thinking about the project you're going to make and why this is going to be the thing that you're going to make people give you money for, because that's basically what we're talking about when we're pitching, that matters, and you have to be able to convey that. It's a performance. It's an act. You need to make sure that you're memorable. I don't wear a top hat just for fun. That's a bonus. I don't wear a silly jacket and jeans and a Unity t-shirt to make sure I'm not seen. Everybody will recognize me at 100 yards at every single game conference you go to, and you'll see that. You have a hook. You need a hook. You need to be memorable. Maybe not sock puppets. I don't know. You'd be memorable, but be memorable for the right reasons. And more importantly, and the real reason for this one, is show, don't tell. Don't tell me how great your game is going to be. Show me how great it is. In fact, in games, we've got to remember, games aren't about show and tell. They're about doing. Let me play your game. If I can't play your game and you're pitching it to me, how on earth do I know what it's really like? So you've got to have the confidence to know that that thing is going to work. So show me. But it's also about perception. Not everyone you go and talk to needs the same thing. You can go to 11, 20, 40 different publishers, and they will all want something slightly different. They will all have the thing that will make sure that they get their bonus at the end of the quarter. Do you know what's going to give them their bonus at the end of the quarter? And how do you know that your game is that thing? How do you know that the journalist that you're talking to at a big indie pitch is going to want to write about you so you can get all that lovely coverage and get people excited about your game, and then maybe get one of the YouTubers who reads that column to actually go and put that experience on their channel? How do you know they're going to do that? Well, because you have to understand what turns that journalist on. how you get them excited. And you only get that if you pay attention. If you've seen me talking, I'm often talking very loudly all the time, but what I'm hiding from you is I'm actually listening to what you're saying and the way you react all of the time. I'm looking for the people's eyes. You probably see me looking around like this. There's a reason for that, because I want to know that I've got your attention, and you're thinking about what I'm saying, and that you're conveying, I am conveying the passion that I have, and the knowledge and experience that I have to bring you the right ideas to pitch your project. So understand what the audience needs. That's utterly critical. Problem. What is it you're solving? Now, this kind of use of language for pitching is very common. What is the problem you're trying to solve? Now, in games, our problem is a need, a entertainment need. But actually, it's also about what is the gap, what is the thing, what is the bit that's unique, the bit that will compel people to say, I must play this game now! You know that you've played those games, haven't you? For the pitches earlier, the one game I had to play now was the VR one where you jump into the body of someone you just shot. Why? Well, because if you knew me, you know I'm really interested in game mechanics, and I'm really interested when somebody makes a game mechanic that fits in the narrative arc of how something works, that overcomes a fundamental problem of the type of interaction you have in a format. That really gets me excited. But I'm just one audience. So what problem are you solving? In that case, I felt they were solving a problem, which is, in order to avoid motion sickness, I've got to go from one thing to another. Why is teleporting a good thing in this game? That's clever for me. What is the proposition? So you've already said you know what the problem is. How are you going to solve it? And how are you going to be the only people to solve it, or the people who are going to solve it in the way that's going to get the most attention? Why you? Why are you the right people to solve this? But you should know that already, because remember, you've done all the preparation, you know what you're thinking, you've got the passion, you should know this already. And if I'm sitting there watching you pitch to me, you've got your chance to show me. But be succinct. Provide me with proof. Why should I trust your word on it? Don't just tell me that the mobile games industry generated $45 billion last year, that the entire games industry was $115 billion, because I can go look that up. Tell me how many people are bought into the games of your genre. Tell me why your genre has got the biggest growth rate or the biggest opportunity because of this lack of being serviced. Tell me why your game is unique, and give me evidence why you've got, let's say, 45% day 2 retention, or 20% day 7 retention. Know why you're going to convince me that I should believe you. People believing you, people want to believe you. If you've shown passion, if you've shown understanding of their needs, if you've shown all this other stuff, they want to believe you. But you have to still prove it. And then tell them why they need to act now. The pitch P is about actually closing. Always be closing. Anyone seen Glengarry and Ross? Seriously, it takes brass balls. And you have to see that film to understand that joke. It is an incredibly important thing that we forget about, because we're all shy and retiring. We're at that point. We're telling people, thank you so much for listening to me. I'm so grateful. And then we forget to say, but I need £5 million tomorrow, please. Why should they do it? Why should they hand over that £5 million to my project? What proof have we given them that justifies it? And have we actually asked the question? You've got to remember to actually tell them what you want. And practice. 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 And again, I'm terribly sorry for quoting Glengarry Glen Ross again, because it is the perfect film to understand pitching, because coffee is for closers. And again, go see the film or the stage play. Both are very good. I mean, that's really kind of the point, is that practice and understanding what you're doing and really knowing what you're doing. Because the more you practice, even if you practice on your friends, even if you practice on your mum, every time you talk about your game project, you get better at working out what makes people excited about it. You learn the shortcuts, and you want to be as succinct as possible. You want to say as few words as possible and still get across why your game is the next big thing. Your game has to convey all of those qualities that are going to be looked for by the audience. And that sounds like the wrong way around, doesn't it? But it's not. It's not about whether your game's any good. It isn't. It's about whether the game is coming out at the right time for the investor, for the right things that they want to do. They don't actually care about your game. Particularly, some do, don't get me wrong. It's not about whether they care. It's about whether you've convinced them this is the time. This is the moment to act. I'm the developer with the right project. Sign on the line now. I mean, so that's basically my advice on pitching. I hope that's useful, interesting, hopefully funny-ish. Maybe not so many laughs. But, so I'm happy to answer any questions you have if there is time. I'm assuming there is.
I guess one question. One question?
No? Have I scared you now? You don't have to be me when you're pitching. You know, not everybody has to have a big top hat and talk loudly in an English accent. Cool. On that case, I'll be around to come and grab me.
There's a question.
Oh, good question. Go.
Hi. When did you start wearing that top hat?
When do I start or stop? I started wearing this top hat 5 years ago. 5 years ago. This is actually top hat number 2. I was wearing hats from... Actually, there are photos of me wearing a trilby when I was about 18. So I have a history of wearing hats. I went to GDC Austin in 2008, maybe 2009. Bought myself a Stetson. Started wearing hats again. But I'm not a good cowboy look. It's not a good look. And I went to go get a Walter White hat and found this. And of course, the result is history. So